There's something different about fighting at Madison Square Garden. They call it the world's most famous arena for a reason. Champions have been crowned there, legends have been made there, history lives in those walls. But on Friday, March 6th, 2026, not just about titles. It's about pride. It's about the brotherhood. It's about stepping into the ring for something bigger than yourself. The FDNY Bravest Boxing International Battle of the Badges 3 brings together first responders from across the country and around the world. Firefighters, police officers, men and women who put their lives on the line every single day, trading uniforms for gloves under the bright lights. And for one of the men making the walk is Sean Dillon, a firefighter, a competitor, a man balancing the weight of responsibility on the job with the discipline and grind of a training camp. Tonight, we're going inside the mindset of someone who runs toward danger by profession and now voluntarily into the controlled chaos for charity, for the FDNY, and for the badge on his chest. This isn't just about a fight. It's about what drives someone to test themselves in front of thousands at the garden. Let's get into it. Sean Dillon, welcome to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Kyle Carroll alongside Sean Dillon, who's fighting on March 6th, Friday night at MSG on the Battle of the Badges 2026 against Dara Gilroy in a rematch. Sean, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Kyle. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. Big rematch for you. How you feel about it?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. A lot more training into this one. Dara's a great opponent. We fought back in June, so I'm ready for him this time.
Awesome. What does it mean personally to you to fight on the Battle of the Badges fight card at the Gardens? Your second time, I believe, at the fighting at the Garden. What does it mean to you?
This is my fourth time fighting at the
Fourth
Garden.
time. Oh man, my
Yeah,
apologies.
yeah. I fought twice back in 2 years ago, Ring Masters finals, and then the first Battle of the Badges. I fought Owen O'Neill, and then another guy from UK. But so this is my fourth. It's good though. Every single time I do this, I'm still a little kid inside. So I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, I'm fighting in the garden, and it's always for a good cause, good people involved. And ever since I came to the show as a kid back in the day, it was always a dream of mine, and now I get to live that out at least once a year.
Yeah, this is going. A lot of the charity is going to Tunnel for Towers. You also got Michael J. Fox's
Yep.
charity as part of it. It's pretty unique event. You have all the fighters like yourself from the FDNY, from the sanitation department, as well as coming across from the country, all across our country, as well as Ireland coming in.
Yeah.
I believe that's where your opponent, Dara Gilroy, is from, correct?
Yep. He's from Ireland. He fights with the Garda. Um, me and the Garda know each other very well. I've been out there a few times to fight, and they've come here a lot to fight. And every opponent they stick me with gives me a run for my money. And Dara's no joke either. So I'm going in level headed, knowing what I have to do, and we're gonna get the job done.
What was it about his style that you believe led to his victory last time that made it maybe difficult for you to kind of get past and score more points?
He's got a very fast jab, faster than I'm used to. I used to fight at 175, so a little bit slower people at that weight. He's a little bit shorter than me, but he's very quick, especially for a guy at 165. So he was scoring a lot of points with that. And the Irish just know how to fight. They really do. He fights, like a typical Irishman from Ireland, and he knows how to put combinations together. And I wasn't really I was a little surprised by it, but I also wasn't surprised that they were going to stick a 23-year-old against my old ass.
Now you have a family, correct?
Yeah, yeah. The
Congratulations.
16-month-old son.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How does that feel to be a father now and competing inside the ring?
It's great. It's great. It's the motivation is different now. It's I'm was fighting for myself, but now I have him. He kicks my ass at home so that I don't get my ass kicked in the ring.
That's awesome. Congratulations to you and your family.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What are you hoping to show the crowd at Madison Square Garden for this fight? What are you trying to show them different than last time?
Just my heart and resiliency. Like it's hard having I'm not the only person to have a kid and get in there and fight. but it is difficult to get there, training 5, 6 days a week. And I do love it, and I do have the heart for it. And, I'm gonna go in there and show them that, you can make it work. You can still start a family, work your ass off, and get in there. And just because you lost to a guy once doesn't mean you're going to lose again.
Absolutely. And can you walk us through your training camp? What has been the focus the past few weeks leading up to March 6th?
Focus is throwing more punches. You've seen me fight, you know my style. I don't really throw that much. I'm more of a counter puncher, but I'm gonna try and get in there. And he throws a lot of punches, so I got to do my thing on defense. But get in and throw more punches and score points. This is amateur boxing. Amateurs, you win by scoring more points. So it doesn't matter how flashy you look. It's just get in there, score more points than the other person.
Absolutely.
So,
And like for those who don't know, like Sean just said, it's amateur boxing, so there's only 3 rounds.
yep,
I think it's very rare that they might put a couple extra rounds in for certain fights, but very rare that they do. It's usually 3 rounds, 2 minutes apiece.
yep, 3 rounds, 2 minutes apiece. So you don't have much time. It's 6 minutes. And that's what you got to keep telling yourself when you're in there because it's a lot different than sparring. It's a different animal. Your wind really gets used in there a lot more, especially because this guy's trying to break, like, hit you in the head. So it's a bigger animal, and you got 6 minutes to get the job done. There's no 12 rounds where you could take a round and throw a few less punches, catch your breath, take a little break. No, there is no break. You got 6 minutes to do what you got to do and show those judges that you win.
Absolutely. As an FDNY firefighter, first responder, how does boxing complement or influence your mindset on the job?
Yeah, so, just kind of like firefighting, you never know what you're going to run into. And even though I've already fought Dara, his training camp could be going completely different. He could come in there with a different mindset. Same thing at a fire. You don't know what that, each fire is different. So just like fighting, each fight is different. So it might not go the same way as the last fight. It might go completely different. And it's the same aspect at a fire. You never know what that fire is going to bring. No two fires are alike. And you just got to go in there and trust your training. That's the biggest comparison between the two. Trust your training.
Absolutely. And I was going to ask, what are the lessons you learned from the FDNY life that you bring into the ring?
Again, just to piggyback this, it's kind of answering that before. Trust your training. That's really the biggest thing. Go in there. I say it all the time to myself and to other fighters. Like if you're not in the right mindset, if you're not in the right mindset before you step in that ring, you already lost the fight. So you have to go in there, trust your training, trust that you know what you're doing, trust that you can overcome any obstacle, and you have a good chance of getting your hand raised at the end. But if you go in there negative, anxious, nervous, then you pretty much just beat yourself in the fight.
When did you first start boxing? What drew you to the sport?
So I started boxing when I was in 8th grade, long time ago, about 2000. I kept going with it. I did it for basketball. I did it to try and make the high school basketball team, which worked. I made my JV team. And then, I just kept going with it. Here and there, I was sporadic throughout my high school and college. And then after college, I picked it back up. And then once really COVID hit, that's when I met my trainer and best friend, Gary Nieves, and we just worked our asses off and got to where we are now. Gary's going to be fighting too. He's been a big help in all of these fights. So he's getting an opportunity to step in the ring also.
What moment early in your career did you feel like the gloves might take you somewhere bigger? You had an opportunity for a fourth time to fight or a fifth time to fight in Madison Square Garden. When did you think that this was a possibility?
Really, after my first fight, because that first fight, it's very normal to get nervous, especially in your very first fight. And that happened after COVID. And, after that, I said to myself, I love this. I really love this. And just the support and, all the people that reached out to me and that were following me along that journey to that first fight just kept pushing me into wanting to fight more. And then, sooner or later, I realized, wow, I really have a following with this. People really want to see me succeed in this. And I'm going to keep going. So started doing Golden Gloves, started doing all these fights with the FD. I was fighting like 5, 6 times a year,
Oh wow.
sometimes 7. And then, Madison Square Garden just happens to come up. And there was no way I was saying no to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, what an opportunity that is. And
Yeah.
now the amount of times you fought at MSG, I think many pro fighters haven't even fought there. And you been there several times, which is
Eh,
awesome.
yeah.
And then I don't know, who have been the biggest influences and mentors in your boxing journey?
So the biggest mentor to me has been my trainer Gary Nieves. He's been there since my very first fight. I wouldn't be able to do this without him. If I'm ever nervous before a fight, he's been there. And then the coaches of the FDNY team helping me along the way. Mike Reno probably has like 200 something fights as an amateur, so he knows this game better than anybody. And Susan Reno, professional fighter, she's my number two in the corner. She's been there with me, helping along the way through the ups and the downs. And, you know, they've definitely helped me create a path of how I can get there and continue to be successful.
Battle of the Badges supports charitable causes. What does the element mean to you and your teammates?
Oh, it's everything. It's everything. We don't get time off from the city. We don't get paid for this. So we're doing this all to help raise money for charity. And those charities, like you said, Michael J. Fox Foundation, Tunnel to Towers, Fire Family Transport is a big one for us too. All of them are. It's just it goes back to good causes, and I've seen fire family transports in action. Like any medical procedures, anytime you need to go to the hospital to visit family or anything like that, like fire family transport is there for you. And it's just seeing out the money that we raise go to causes like this pushes us to you know keep fighting, keep doing it.
Yeah, it is an awesome cause, and I've had the opportunity and thankful for it to be able to commentate a handful of fights now for the FDNY, and it is pretty cool. And the atmosphere surrounding it, it's incredible, and I love everything about it. Even the FDNY versus the NYPD, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do a great job of commenting, Kyle. Even though
I
I
uh,
can't hear you
I
when I'm in the
appreciate
ring and I
that.
hear it after the fight when I rewatch it, but you guys always do a great job.
Appreciate it. You guys put so much work in. We try our hardest to bring a professional atmosphere to it. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, how important is it for the event to highlight the spirit of the first responders beyond the competition?
It's very big. I think that it goes to show how hard that they work, whether it's at the firehouse, whatever job they're doing. We have some sanitation guys fighting. Sanitation's getting their butt kicked right now with the snow. So you have to really highlight that because we're still working. We're still there, going out, doing our jobs. And on top of that, we're training 5, 6, 7 days a week in order to prepare for this. So we don't take it lightly either. It's not something that we train 1 day a week for. This is something that you're in the gym, like I said, 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. You're going for runs all after you come off a 24-hour shift or sanitation's outside for 18 hours shoveling. So it is important to highlight that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if there's one message you want people to take away from this fight night, what would it be?
Keep giving back to good causes. Keep giving back to good causes. All these charities do great things. And it's always good to give back. And yeah, just keep giving back to good causes, whether it's coming out to support us, going out to support all of the fire department teams that do stuff for charities as well. And it keeps the community engaged. That's another big thing. You go to the hockey game. If you've ever been to the hockey game, the atmosphere is just as electric. So keep giving back to good causes, keep supporting, and we'll be doing the same thing.
Talk about mindset. How do you mentally prepare before stepping into such a high energy environment like MSG?
Well, Kyle, you know me. I'm a jokester. I go in there. I know it needs to be done. So my mentality is go out there. You got, like I said, 6 minutes. You got 6 minutes to kick ass and get your ass kicked a little bit, get your hand raised, and then you can have all the fun in the world. I always like to have fun. So my mentality is go out there and do my thing, and then party after.
Sean, do you have goals in boxing beyond the Battle of the Badges and FDNY boxing, like possibly turning pro at some point or no?
It's been a thought in my mind. Going back to something we talked about earlier. You said as a pro, you don't get to fight in MSG till maybe you're 10-0 or 11-0. You know, I get to do that once a year while raising money for a good cause. I've always talked about, and not many people know this, I've always talked about, maybe when I'm ready to retire from boxing, hang up the gloves, maybe I'll do a pro fight or two, see how I feel. But I'm having too much fun with this. The FDNY boxing team really did change my life. These people are like family to me now. For the past 5, 6 years, they've been family to me. And we're doing such good things and we get to travel the world together, go to Ireland, go to the UK, Denver, all these different places. So I don't know because if I go pro, then you can't do this anymore. There's no more, you won't be seeing me at the Battle of the Badges anymore. I'll be working or I'll be helping, I'll be coaching. It's a tough choice, but, right now I'm happy where I am. And, we'll see what the future holds. Who knows?
Absolutely. And Sean, what's one thing about you that nobody knows but you want to share with everyone? Yeah, I got two more for you. I got how do you
Yeah.
balance training and responsibilities as a firefighter and then like doing training for firefighter and working and you're working 5 days a week and then training for boxing and all. How do you balance all that? Plus family.
Yeah, it's my support system. My parents, my wife, my mother-in-law, my parents and my mother-in-law really help out with the baby. So, my wife, she works also a lot. So, but anytime I'm home and she's home, she yells at me to go for a run. It's really just the support system, the resources that I have that, I know my son's taken care of so that I can go train, so I can go all the way into the city and get sparring in. Yeah, that's the resources I have are really, I wouldn't be able to do it. I don't think I would if I didn't have the resources that I have.
Absolutely. Anyone you want to give a shout out or anything like that for my final question?
I'd love to give a shout out to the guys at Victory Boxing, John Snow. That's where the FDNY boxing trains. Without his help and his gym, we wouldn't be able to train that much. A huge shout out to John Snow. A huge shout out to my family, my wife, my son. I know my wife will be there. I don't think my son's going to come, even though I'd love to watch him. I'd love to have him show up, but I think he's still a little too young. And yeah, and then everyone on the fire department boxing team and all the teams showing up and coming. We got guys coming from all over the world. So they're doing the same thing that we're doing, working while training. And it's tough and they're coming to do it. And they're stepping in the ring at the Mecca of boxing. So I think I'd love to give them all a shout out, all the fighters. They're all working hard. Let's give everybody a show.
Absolutely. And then final question for you, Sean. When the bell rings and you're standing under the lights at Madison Square Garden on March 6th, who's the first person you're thinking about and what would you say to them in that moment?
First person I'm going to be thinking about is my son. Once he was born, it's just like my motivations changed. It just got heightened, really. So he's going to be the first person I think about, then my wife, and then I'm going to look at Gary. Gary's going to be smiling over there. I know that smirk that he has. So yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Sean Dillon, good luck as you take on Dara Gilroy in a rematch on March 6th at Battle of the Badges International, the third, on at Madison Square Garden. I wish you the best of luck, and I can't wait to come and this fight.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. And this is Carroll's Corner MMA podcast with Sean Dillon of the FDNY. Thank you very much and good luck.